Hello and welcome to the Arkansas Weather Blog. We are your ticket to big weather events, recording this Tuesday, September 11 at 7:30 in the morning, and there's plenty of tropical trouble. Now, there's two systems that I'm going to talk about. The first and foremost, Florence. And the reason why I'm talking about something that is not going to impact Arkansas weather directly is that it doesn't impact our weather, doesn't impact Arkansas, but it impacts Arkansans. And that's what's important as well. Very important, because you have friends and family. Plus, some of you are curious and want to know. I'm going to give you all the specifics about Florence as of this morning in just a second. Also, in the Gulf of Mexico, there's some mischief down there that we've got to pay attention to. This is the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season, and it is busy. It ramped up quickly, didn't it? Also, there are some fantastic sources for information along the East Coast. If you've been following me on Twitter, you know that I've been talking about our sister station in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Ed Petrosky is the chief meteorologist there at WPDE. And also inland, because inland flooding is going to be a huge problem. And I highly recommend following at WCNC, I believe, in Charlotte, Brad Panovich out there. And there's so many other great people out there on the East Coast to follow for a local perspective on that. So let's show you what I'm thinking about. Of course, we have Hurricane Florence, which is going to be the big weather story nationally, And just to give you a perspective as to what Florence is in terms of category, we know it Category 1 to 2, and now we are at 3, which is categorized as a major hurricane, and then Cat 4. 130 to 156 mile per hour sustained winds. Now, Florence did go up to 140, then back down to 130 as expected, strengthened once again. And if you want to know what Category 5 is, 157 plus, catastrophic damage is expected. Let's hope it never gets there. This is a close-up view, infrared view of the satellite imagery. So at night, you can't look at a visible satellite imagery because you have to have sunlight. And so I'm in the morning here, and of course, we have some frames now with sunlight, but I wanted to show you over the Atlantic, but I want to show you the infrared because this shows you what's going on right now. It's going through some fluctuations in intensity right now. Still, it's barely a Category 4 hurricane, but it's catastrophic if it were to hit the United States, and it looks like it could. But where you see these deep purple cloud tops, you're looking at the temperature of the cloud tops. The colder those cloud tops get, that means that's in relation to the storm strength and that it is stronger. When you see those purples starting to wrap around, the deep reds and the purples wrap around that thing perfectly, that's when it reaches its most intense. Right now, it's not doing that. And if you look at it's going to re-strengthen, by the way. And it's, like I said, it's still Category 4, so I don't want to minimize the danger with this. But when you look at the first few frames of Florence, you see a very tight eye right there. And then the last several frames, you see it's not quite as organized. It may be undergoing what's called an eye wall replacement cycle, and then the eye strengthens, or the hurricane strengthens, and the eye becomes a little bit more discernible. So that's at least some good news. Again, still 140 mile per hour winds, and it's going to be a problem no matter what it's doing out there in the Atlantic, and it's probably going to strengthen once again. Let me show you the Saffir-Simpson scale and what hurricanes can do. When we're talking about Category 1 storms. And again, besides the wind, you have flooding, and then the storm surge is also a huge problem. And Category 1, even Gordon wasn't a Category 1 hurricane. Then you're talking about Category 2, extreme winds and extensive damage up to 110 mile per hour winds. And then you get into the Category 3 hurricanes. Once it reached Cat 3, it's classified as a major hurricane. We expect Florence to hit as at least a major hurricane of winds 111 to 129. Hopefully it's wrong, but that causes devastating damage, and the storm surge goes well inland, and a lot of people die because of the storm surge and the subsequent flooding inland as well. And you can see there's quite a bit of damage. A lot of the structures along the coast, they're going to sustain damage, but a lot of them are built to withstand some of that damage. Then you get into the Cat 4, and that's when things really, again, become extreme and catastrophic, storm surge, and let's hope we don't see this. Category 5, you're talking about just everything being swept away, and we have seen that before. I believe it was Andrew. I just remember Andrew. That was a hurricane season where it was very quiet, and it was a below average hurricane season, but it only takes one storm. That's all it takes. So that's a little explanation of category 1 through 5. We have right now a 4, a minimum 4, with winds sustained of 130 miles per hour, gust of 165, moving to the west-northwest now at 15 miles per hour. So this track is going to shift quite a bit. And the thing I want you to pay attention to is that cone, not where the icons are. That's where the eye should be, according to the track, but really it could be anywhere in this cone. And anybody in this cone is in danger, maybe not from extreme winds, but extreme flooding. So everybody in this cone, this is what we call the cone of confidence, that there will be effects from the storm, and they will be hazardous effects, some extreme, some catastrophic, closer to the eye on the eye wall, some extreme because of flooding inland, well inland. But this is Friday at 2 a.m., making landfall 130 miles per hour as a Category 4 hurricane. Hopefully it weakens. But here's what the key to this, what I want to show you. From Friday at 2 a.m. to Saturday at 2 a.m., do you see these lines, these white lines? They're very closely spaced together, which means it does not move. Once it moves inland, it weakens its wind energy. It rains like crazy. That's the big threat, and it's barely moving. So it's raining, and raining over the same spots. And then by Sunday at 2 a.m., it's a tropical depression. But look how far it's moved from Friday to Sunday, barely anything. So the track on this with each computer model run is going to wobble north-south, north-south, north-south. This is the general consensus that it's going to come in maybe, this is, again, the center of the storm, but really there can be an error. There can be an error with this, either to the south or to the north. But generally in this cone, there's a high degree of confidence that there is going to be effects from Florence. Entergy sending some of our utility crews out there because there will be power knocked out. And I know a lot of states are going to be responding to this to help in the cleanup. But it looks like the Carolinas into Virginia are going to take the brunt of the storm. Also, you have the mountain range here, the Appalachians. And with the counterclockwise flow up against that, you get an upslope flow, and that can enhance the rainfall amounts. You're always going to get rainfall, heavy amounts, but they could actually be enhanced. Now, this is just one computer model run, and this will shift north-south. I think there will be more further towards the north than what this is showing. This is the European model from last night, 15 inches or more, right along the North and South Carolina border. It'll probably be well inland than that, 15 inches. Then we have another system in the Gulf of Mexico, and notice it's going to take aim on Texas, and there's a good chance for development. It's not going to be a Florence, but it's going to bring rain to South Texas, 5 inches or more in areas, according to the latest European. Notice Arkansas kind of in the middle of all that and not seeing much in the way of rainfall over the next several days other than isolated pop-up showers and thunderstorms. All right, I want to show you our interactive radar at KTV.com. Just go to KTV.com, go to the weather section. You see the rain here in South Arkansas and Southeast Arkansas, very light. And then, oh, by the way, there's the Gulf of Mexico. So you can track Florence. Let me zoom out a little bit. And I hope you can see this. The Layers tab. Let me make sure that you guys can see. Yes, you can. See the Layers tab right here? You click on that, and then you can get active model tracks. You can get the active tropical tracks. And then, so you get all the information here. There's the position of Florence. You get what all the computer models are saying, and then that thicker white line is, again, there's a cone here. Don't pay attention exactly where that line, that's where the center of the storm is. But there's far-reaching impacts away from that center in terms of inland flooding. I mean, you can get so many different things with this. Earthquakes, flooding, snow. I don't know if a lot of people know about this, and then you can change the opacity of everything too. All the data on there. Wildfire detection, storm tracks, current conditions, temperature plots. Let's do temperature plots. I mean, so there's so many different things, and on this. I mean, look at the Atlantic. You could play around with this for hours. It has lightning data on it. That's a fantastic utility. And then close that out. But it's in the bottom right, and it's under a little tab there that says Layers. So to sum everything up, Florence will not impact Arkansas weather, but it will impact Arkansans, friends, family. If you're traveling, we have another system in the Gulf of Mexico. Looks to take aim on Texas with heavy rainfall, and things here, at least in the natural state, other than a little bit of rain, seem very quiet. Thank you for coming to the Arkansas Weather Blog. We are your ticket to big weather events.